Hey y'all, welcome back to what I'm on today. Today we're going to be talking about my handbag buying rules, so stay tuned.
Thankful for this beat, thankful for my dad, man, he kept me from the street, man, I'm thankful when I eat, thankful for my wife, thankful for my freak, when they saw each other last week.
Hey y'all, welcome back to what I'm on today. My name is Lakia Chanel, and I make videos about all things handbags, both luxury and contemporary, because you guys already know that I do not discriminate. So this is actually a tag video. I'm going to be talking about the handbag buying rules that I have, and I was tagged by Fashion Without Limits, so thank you so much for tagging me in this video, because this is going to be so fun. I just want to say before I start that I really love our community. I knew nothing about her channel until she tagged me, and I just love that. I love that we're all getting to know each other on this little platform called YouTube because of our handbag love and obsession. Okay, getting right into it. I feel like this is really difficult for me, so hopefully this video is not going to be like too long-winded. If you've been following me at all, and my husband probably gives me more credit than I do myself, I feel like my handbag rules are all over the place and they change based on the convenience and what I want. So I would say that the one thing that is a staple that stays true for me is around the finances of the bags. Like, I have to have the cash money for the bag. Within my household, we create a budget, and our budget really goes over, you know, obviously the bills, our savings goals, our investing goals, if we want to travel, and like any like nuances and things that we want to focus on for the year, we kind of map them out at the beginning of the year, and I create a year-long budget. And really, if I'm honest, I'm super anal, so I have like a 5-year budget. So I'm very like anal about things like that. And so I would say the money is the big thing. I started really kind of buying bags and collecting right around 2019. And so prior to that time, believe it or not, guys, like I was super frugal. I never bought anything for myself. I always loved shoes, so I would splurge every now and then on a pair of shoes, and splurging would be like, you know, $100 or less, right? And then probably 2019, 2020 hit, and there were a couple of vacations that we couldn't go on, and so I don't know, the handbag obsession began. And so as I was kind of navigating all of that, I think the thing that I learned is that like the cash money has to be there. So I budget every single year, and in our household we have like spending money that's in the budget, so we both get a particular allowance like every single month, and within that allowance I budget my handbag purchases. So that is probably the biggest rule for me, is that like I have to be able to pay cash for the bag. That is very important to me, because I don't want to go into debt or, I don't know, take away from my household for a hobby of mine. Number 2, and I try my best, and it's gotten out of control now, so I'll say ish. I try my best to not purchase a bag that is going to serve the same purpose as another bag that I have in my collection. Now, this is kind of what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, where I will kind of change the rules to suit myself. But in general, that is like my goal. If I see a bag and it is super similar to another bag that I already have in my collection, meaning it has to be the same color, it has to be something that I would use in the same way, more than likely I will not try to purchase that bag. And it's so funny, because as I'm saying this, I feel like I have bags in front of me that could serve the same purposes, right? These 2 bags, right? Same kind of color, obviously different material, but they hold them out around the same. Even these 2 bags here, you know, they're kind of similar, almost identical in color. This one is a little teeny bit bigger than this one, right? So like I said, I will make concessions for myself, but in general, I don't like to purchase something that's going to be exactly the same. Now, you guys know me. If I like a bag, I will purchase that thing in all the colors and all the sizes. So that is not my vibe. but trying my best not to purchase things that will make me not use one bag over the other bag. Rule number 3 is that I am really trying, especially in 2024, not to purchase any bags that are over like that $2,000 mark. And I would say last year, oh no, I forgot. I got a Birkin and a her bag last year. That went out the window. But in general, I am trying to stay $2,000 and under unless I really, really, really love the bag. One of the other things I would say, which is I think we're on number 4, is that I try to purchase the things that I love. In the past, and still current, like I am very much one of those people. I see the bag, I want the bag, I've saved for the bag, I'm gonna get that bag, right? And so what I realized is that because of the accessibility to me, sometimes I don't think thoroughly enough about the purchase before I actually pull the trigger. I am super impulsive, like sometimes when it comes to this, especially if I have the money for it, then I'll just get it. When in reality, I probably don't need to, or maybe I need to sit out for a couple of months to really see, like, do I really want this bag? I still live sometimes in a fear of missing out, so I often will jump on the bag. So these are rules. This rule is one that I would like to implement that is kind of not there, but I'd love to have it there. Is I did this last year, and I really didn't implement it that well. Is like, I wanted to sit on the bag for 30 days. Like, if you want the bag for 30 days and you still want it, then go ahead and purchase it. However, I will say that in some cases I would have missed out. In the case of this bag, I would have missed out had I waited 30 days for this bag, right? I think I knew that it was coming out. I had like 2 weeks. I was up, I got it, and now the thing is sold out everywhere and I'm not sure if it's coming back, right? So in some of the cases that doesn't work, but in general, I would say my goal is to just say, hey, look, if you want the bag for over 30 days, then get the bag. I want to be, these are turning now into rules that I'd like to have for myself that I don't today. I would love to be the type of human that is like, okay, I have a wish list. These are the bags that I really want, and I'm going to stick to these bags. And at the end of the year, I really wanted these 5 bags, and I got these 5 bags. What ends up happening to me is that I will create a mental wish list of some of the bags that I want. New bags will come out in between that time that I didn't know existed. And now I want those bags, but I want them now. So then I'll get those bags now, right? And so sometimes my wish list bags end up being pushed to the side. So in this year, specifically, I told myself I was going to only purchase 7 bags this year. And then I said, well, why are you limiting yourself like that? 12 bags is good, right? And I've already purchased 12 bags this year. And we are only in, what, May? So with that said, I would love, and I think I'm going to try my hardest to do this, I would really love to say, hey, look, these are the bags that I really have my eye on this year, and I am going to stick to those bags this year. I think we're on number 5. And this one is one that I really do stick to, is holding on to my bags for a while. I have a lot of bags in my collection, probably around like 140 to 150 at this point, I believe. Could be more. But holding on to my bags is something that I always do, because one thing I realize about myself is, like, because sometimes I will do what I consider to be an impulsive buy, I will purchase something and maybe I don't use it right away, or I don't use it for a season, or I don't use it for a year. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should give this away to my family members. Last year was kind of the first time that I started like selling things. But what I realized is, like, at some point I am probably going to want to wear that bag. And oftentimes the longer that I keep a bag in my collection, the more that I end up using it. This is a prime example. You guys know that this Bottega bag is like one of my favorite bags, hands down, in my collection. When I first got this bag, had to have it, wanted it, got it for a great price, and I ended the clasp was so cumbersome that I just never really wore it like that when I first got it. And I think I got this in 2019 or 2020. I love this bag now. I use it all the time. Like, it is a fantastic bag. And had I sold it or given it away just because of the, you know, the strap being cumbersome, or the closure, excuse me, being cumbersome in the beginning, then I would not have known how like great the bag was. And I feel like there are tons of different bags like in my collection that are like that for me, where I don't wear them a ton, but then I'll just start wearing them like crazy. So I think it's like the rule is kind of like always wear the bag. I'm trying to think of like if there are any other rules. And sorry guys, I literally am doing this like off of the top of my head because I'm so fluid with the bags that I purchase. And I feel like I just get everything. My husband feels like, from his perspective, that I am mentally curating the collection. Even though it's a large collection, he's like, you loved every single thing that you purchased. A lot of these things that you're saying you just bought on a whim, you had talked to me about those weeks before or even months before, but you just feel like all you do is buy bags, which is very true. So I'm trying to think, is there any other rules that I would have? I think another rule, number 6, that I am going to start to implement is I am on a kind of on a vein to like really try some new brands and some less expensive brands. And I'm going to say this, guys, with the exception of Coach and the quality of those Coach bags, a lot of the other brands that I have tried that are contemporary brands or that are no, you know, brands that are no name brand brands, like very small brands, those items do not last, or the wear on those items is not great, or they feel like they are made with like inferior materials to some of the luxury bags that I have in my collection. And so obviously we would hope that because we pay more for luxury. But one of the things that I would say is, like, in my mind, I don't really consider selling any of my luxury handbags, with the exception of that Louis Vuitton Duomo bag, which I'm in love with now. Time makes you love everything. But some of the other bags from like other brands that are not my staple Coach or my luxury brands, I'm very open to like giving those away to family members or selling them, or maybe the wear and tear isn't that great. So one of the things that I am realizing is that, like, I'm gonna have to pay for quality, and I'm okay with that. And sometimes I will purchase something instead of. And I feel like, as a rule, I want to not do that. I want to purchase the thing that I want, period. As opposed to the, well, you wanted this, but this other brand had something that was a little bit cheaper. Some of those things have worked out perfectly for me, i.e. my Booty bags. You guys know how much I love Booty, as well as the Ricky bags. If you follow me, you know that I tried these two brands specifically because I was not prepared to pay Birkin prices, you know, at the time. I ended up getting all these bags in the same year anyways. So, you know, it didn't stop me from purchasing my Birkin, right? However, it did get me onto two new amazing brands that are just flawless to me, that I'm going to keep adding to my collection. But I think in general, the idea of like getting something instead of, I'm going to try my hardest like not to do that unless I really just love the instead of thing. You know what I mean? So instead of just saying, oh, what else is out there like this bag? If I happen to stumble across, for instance, this bag, you know, I did want the Chanel medium flap in pink. But when I saw this bag, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have this bag. And that ended up taking the place for it. Instead of me actually just going out and seeing like what bags were out there that were similar to the Chanel flap. Hopefully that makes sense. One of my, I guess, number 7, I think we're on 7 or 8, is to have fun. I feel like when I first started out in my collection, I was very influenced, maybe not necessarily, well, by some of the purchases, but I was very influenced about like, oh, you're buying a luxury bag, it's gotta be in a, you know, a neutral color. So a lot of my first bags were browns, and they were, you know, not really blacks, but they were very neutral colored bags, right? And I said, oh, I've got my staples, so now I can get some color. And I would say that in general today, and maybe this is because of those experiences, I buy whatever I want. I have fun with it. I feel like, you know, the weirder the bag, the cooler it is. You know, I am so interested in having like fun with these handbags, as opposed to it being something that's like super stifling and like I only can buy a black bag, or this has cost so much, I only need to do this. I feel like it's so much fun to just buy the things that are fun. Like if you have a hobby, and let's be honest guys, this is our hobby. If you have a hobby, you should be doing all the things. You should be having a good time. And so for me, putting myself not in a very refined, constrained place has been really fun. And one of the things that I will say, you know, even though I did like a little vlog sale earlier this year, and I think I ended up selling like 7 or 8 bags, it was hard to choose those 7 or 8 bags because I like my collection so much. And the 7 or 8 bags that I did end up selling were either super duplicates that I just never ever wore, or they were bags where I didn't love maybe the brand, maybe the quality, right? Maybe it wasn't a terrible quality, but it just wasn't like high-end quality that I particularly love, right? So I realized that like having fun is great because it does end you up with a collection that you really enjoy. Whether you wear it or not, you enjoy the ride, you enjoy looking at them. I would say my 9th, I'm gonna do 10 guys, because why not? My 9th one is kind of like in that same vein. This is a hobby, and I have to get it through my mind because sometimes I have like that guilt around spending so much money around the bag, even though I'm so focused on the front end about making sure that I have the money for the bag. I feel bad about spending the money for the bag. And so I think that sometimes, and my husband is such a good person to like, I'm so grateful to have somebody who I can bounce my hobby off of, who this is not great, or I get what you're saying, but you should do this. So sometimes I'm like, well, I'm only going to wear it once. This bag is $1,500 and I know I'm not going to wear it a ton. And it's like, so what? You want the bag. Like, you have so many bags. You're not ever going to wear all the bags all the time. You know what I mean? And so I think I've kind of gotten into a space too where it's like, it's okay. I have some bags in my collection that are expensive bags, right? This was maybe 15 or 16. This one is like 900, give or take, that I'm not going to wear every day. And the vibe is I might wear this 10 times this year. Maybe I'm going to wear this one 10 times this year or less. And that is absolutely okay, because I actually would be sad if I didn't have these in the collection. And number 10, and I don't know if I've said this, but we'll make this number 10, is really buy what you want. Do not be influenced. It's hard to say, but don't be influenced by other people. I think after my first couple of months of really starting to purchase handbags, I stopped being so influenced by other influencers, and I started really choosing the things that I liked for me and for my collection. And I think that that is so important. Like, this is a great example. We all went crazy, and we're still going crazy, right? For these quilted tabbies from Coach. I love this bag, but also I am sure I was an influencer because I bought so many of these bags, but I bought them because they spoke to me. And I really, really love the look of these bags. And so what I would say is, like, if this is not your vibe, if this is not going to fit what you want, if you hate denim, if you don't love Coach, do not be influenced by people like me, right? You need to be purchasing things that are going to fit your style, your aesthetic, and things that you are very happy about. And along with that, I would say in the influencing space, do not be so influenced that you are getting yourself into financial trouble to have bags, or any luxury goods. That is one thing that I would definitely say, because I feel like I love us because we're so obsessed over these bags and everything feels like FOMO. I gotta hurry up and get this denim collection bag because it's not gonna be there, and if I miss out, whatever the case is, right? If you miss out, more than likely that's gonna come again. Great example, I missed out on this bag here, and I missed out on it for like a year. And I wanted it specifically in the black jacquard, and I finally saw it in this one. And I wanted the original one that was in the darker denim, if you guys remember that one. Well, guess what? The black jacquard denim and the darker denim in this particular bag, which is the soft tabby, 2 years later is available again. It's not available on the Coach website, but it's available on every single in every single department store, like Macy's, Dillard's. I saw them on the site. So don't get yourself into a financial mess trying to have FOMO. The universe will universe with you. The universe, I got this bag and I paid, I think, half the price of whatever the bag cost, right? Same thing with the Birkin that I have and some of the other things that I've purchased. You know, make sure that your finances are in order to whatever you like them to be in order to. But I would just say, don't get yourself into any financial trouble with any hobbies, especially not handbags. There are so many ways that you can get the bag that you want even after it is sold out. So, you know, don't have FOMO like I sometimes have FOMO. No, so really, don't have FOMO. Like, it will come back around, and I always believe the universe will universe. And if that bag doesn't come back to you, maybe it wasn't meant for you, and something greater and better is. So, I know this video was literally all over the place. This was just literally me thinking on my head, thinking at the top of my head of like what rules I have for myself, which is very difficult because I'm all over the place in real life when I'm purchasing things. So some of these rules are rules that I want to implement. A couple of them are rules that I have for myself. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I want to keep this tag going, so please, anyone do this tag. These are your handbag buying rules. Okay, do not forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this channel, and I will see you guys next week. Talk to you
God is
soon.
good, great, he sent me angels. Extra sandwich, yeah, we did the same too. She lifted up her leg, I seen a king go.